Bastard of the Week.
Hello and welcome to Bastard of the Week, presented by Cuneiform Records, KRAKHOUSE, and the album Bastards of Prog. I'm fascinated with the idea of prog music being something more than prog music, meaning more than just sounding like King Crimson or Emerson, Lake and Palmer and odd time signatures and da-da-da. I think of it as a much larger term, a much more fluid term. And I think the people that have really influenced me as a musician, or just whose music I love, are incredibly progressive, even though they might not actually seem to be progressive. So I'm doing this little video series to talk about the people, the places, and the things that are progressive, and how they will tie into my album and the theme of being Bastards of Prog. So the bastard this week would be the late, great Muhammad Ali. And I think when you look back at his career, it's insane to look at the progression that he went through. He won an Olympic gold medal when he was a teenager. He was born in 1942 in Kentucky, and in the 1960 Olympic Games, he won, and he was a star, and his name was Cassius Clay. A few years later, he takes on Sonny Liston for the heavyweight championship, and instead of being a shy 22-year-old kid, he is mouth. He is talking tons of shit. He created trash talking, in my opinion. I know he was really influenced by people like Gorgeous George, a professional wrestler, but he was one of the first people to just talk shit, saying not only that am I stronger than this person is, am I younger, am I faster, but he's ugly and I'm pretty. So you had this enormous man in incredible shape just demanding you tell him how pretty he is. And as a result, a lot of traditional sports writers and sports people hated him. They thought he was cocky, they thought he was arrogant, which he was, but then he was also good, and he fucking won. And people were shocked by this, but of course, it was transfixing because he was captivating. And a week after he won the title, he converted to Islam. He was given the name Muhammad Ali by Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who in many ways was looked at as a very hateful, racist, polarizing figure. Didn't matter to Muhammad Ali. This is what he was, and this is who he was. And I think when you think about the fact that this happened in February and March of 1964, which is right when the Beatles debuted on Ed Sullivan. So people's minds were still getting blown, and he goes from being this cocky athlete to becoming a Muslim and changing his name. Way ahead of his time. Even more so, a couple years later, he famously protested the Vietnam War, refused to be drafted by saying, no Viet Cong ever called me blank. And people thought he was a shitty American who hated his country. Didn't care. They stripped his title. He went on speaking tours. He became a lecturer of college campuses in the mid-60s. This is before hippies. He was the hippie. It's not a pot-smoking musician. You know, this is a kid from Kentucky, a black Muslim who is as more of a hippie than they are. Finally, he comes back, fights Joe Louis, regains the title, beats George Foreman, loses. He regains the title 2 more times, which has never been done. And finally, in 1996, after all this time, in the Olympic Games, he's the one who lights the torch. This career of just 28 years of just everything, being loved, being hated, being told that he's dangerous. He actually becomes the most beloved figure, maybe of all time. To me, that's progressive. And I don't mean to say this in disrespect, but a true bastard. And a bastard of Prog.
Bastard of the Week.